The bank that owns that skyscraper is not paying a red cent in property tax to New York City this year. Some will say that's smart business. I call it cheating. But who exactly is doing the cheating? When Goldman Sachs decided to build a new headquarters in Manhattan, it squeezed tax-free bonds out of New York City worth $1.65 billion plus tax sweeteners, as the New York Times called them, of $115 million. But that's not all. When they decided to build a skyscraper in Jersey City, they squeezed $130 million out of the taxpayers of New Jersey.
The new headquarters is a $500 million headquarters. If you compare it to Morgan Stanley, which is in the same business, Morgan Stanley pays some $2 million in property taxes every year. There's a garage down the street which pays $3 million every year, and 56 Greenwich Street. And so an ordinary business has to pay property tax. They have to support their employees and have those expenses. Goldman Sachs does not. They feel that they are entitled. And so we all are paying for that entitlement. Every shopkeeper, every homeowner, every person who has a co-op or is a renter, they're all paying a portion of that. And they're all paying more than they would pay because Goldman Sachs doesn't pay its fair share. To add insult to that, to expect them to pay and to subsidize Goldman Sachs's property tax so that they can not only build their headquarters but build a sort of an enclave for their employees with businesses that are friendly to their particular lifestyle, it really it's pretty outrageous. This is just it's hard to explain. It makes no economic sense. If these people are so powerful, if they're so good at what they do, then why do they need a subsidy in the first place? They shouldn't need to be subsidized. They should be self-sufficient. That's what capitalism is supposed to be about. The property is going to go up in price because there's no tax on it. There's no, there's no cost to keeping it. So basically, all they have to do is sit and maintain the building. And the building will appreciate as long as they do that, but the land will appreciate even more if they do nothing, just simply because of the location. They didn't pay for New York. You could do a thought experiment. If you take Goldman Sachs's glistening building and move it to the center of New York State instead of the center of New York City, what kind of value would that have then? It would be practically worthless. So it's really the location which was here before Goldman Sachs, and they should pay locational advantage. That's the whole point of collecting the ground rent. If they don't pay for their location, they're getting something enormous for free, and there's no reason for that. And if we did take the locational rent, then we wouldn't have to charge tax people on their income, and we wouldn't have to do sales taxes. We wouldn't have to do taxes on true capital like buildings themselves. We could untax all of that, and we would get all this economic activity. So we're basically cutting our nose to spite our face in two different ways, and so it becomes a kind of circular payment. We subsidize them, they subsidize the politicians who keep the laws in place in order to keep subsidizing them. So it's really a vicious downward spiral, and it's punishing every working man and woman in New York City.
Politicians are doing it to us every day, screwing us by selling us down the river. It's madness, but frankly, in a democracy, we only have ourselves to blame.
But this is not how you can have a sustainable economy. Goldman Sachs and its brethren have caused enormous bubbles and busts. They nearly bankrupted the country. And it's only through almost superhuman efforts of money pumping, which is still going on, that not only they were able to survive, but the financial sector and even the economy was able to kind of limp along. But the people who are working in the city, we have more poverty in the city than we've had before. We have 55,000 people who don't have a home every night. We have in this city, as a matter of fact, we have twice as many vacant apartments as it would take to house those 55,000 people, except that, of course, because there's no incentive to rent to them, they sit vacant. If there was a ground rent, if people who own those apartments had to pay a continuous land rent, then they would have to put people in there.
Let's call it what it is, cheating. But we are all doing it because, frankly, we would like to pocket the rents, but that's how we screw ourselves. Because if governments are denied the rents, they can't scrap the bad taxes on our earned incomes. What are you going to do about it?